What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, and if you are new to my channel, welcome. I just want to first off say thank you so much for everybody who has subscribed to my channel so far. Thank you for everybody who's given me advice, positive feedback, showed love and support. Thank you so much. So now this video today is going to be all about my nursing journey from where I started to now. I decided to do this video. I have been thinking about it for a long time, debating, going back and forth whether or not I want to do it, because there's a lot of personal issues that I went through during nursing school, and I don't want to get emotional, but I do want to share my story with you guys. I think it's important to kind of open up. So to begin, why did I decide to become a nurse? I personally, for as long as I can remember, have always been a nurturer. Like I'm a natural born nurturer, and people tend to open up to me. I'm a very compassionate person. So for me, getting into this field was not very hard. Specifically, what sparked my interest to begin with. When I was younger, my mother, not my biological mother, she's really my aunt, but she took me and my sisters in at a very young age, and she raised us. So when I refer to my mother in this video, I'm talking about my aunt, but my mother. At a very young age, she was diagnosed with multiple illnesses, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, diabetes, and a lot of other health issues that she's been battling. So at a very young age, my sisters and I would help her out when she would get sick. She would go through these periods of time where she would be fine health-wise. She's nice and healthy. And then there were some times where weeks at a time she would get really sick. Nausea, vomiting, no appetite, just body pains, just being very weak. So as early as I can remember, I was in elementary school, and she would just go through time periods where she literally could not bathe herself. She would be throwing up, could not keep anything down. She would be on all kind of different medications. So me and my sisters would help her and give her medicine. We would help bathe her. We would clean up after her, and there were times where she would stay in bed a lot. So that kind of, I don't know, it just made me feel like better when I would see her get back healthy. It would just make me feel better. Like, yay, we helped mommy, get better. So that initially sparked my interest in caring for people. I don't want to say nursing, because I did not know at the time that I wanted to become a nurse. So fast forward to high school. My junior and senior year in high school, this was back in 2004 and 2005, I took a sports therapy class. So sports therapy class sparked my interest in, I want to say, the medical field, because I was so interested in learning about, the different types of injuries, the sprains and all that stuff, learning about how to ice the injuries and, elevate and reduce swelling. So I was very much so interested in the medical field. I still did not know specifically that I wanted to become a nurse until after I gave birth to my daughter. It took me being a patient in the hospital for me to say, you know what? This is what I want to do. I just saw how the nurses would act and how they, starting the IV and hooking me up to different monitors and checking my vital signs. I don't know. It was just something that was like, I could do that. So after I had my daughter, I remember specifically like it was yesterday. I was watching TV, and I literally was on the couch, and I seen this commercial for a school in my local area in Colton called 4D College. And I liked the principle and the philosophy of the school. I liked what the school stood for. So I decided to just randomly call the number, And I called and I got a little bit of information about the program, the nursing program, the LVN program. And I went down there, I applied, I took the TEAS test, got, started with my financial aid and got into the program. And it was just that fast. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, all my life I wanted to be a nurse. Like it was nothing like that. It was literally just a thought, called the number, and got started. So I got accepted into the program in June of 2008. And I want to say about 2 to 3 months into the program, and it was a day that you have to make up what is called a skills lab, which basically means you perform skills and they let you know whether you're proficient in these skills or you need more work. And it's basically approval to go to the next step into the program, which is the clinical rotation. So I was behind a few skills and I had to, get checked off for those particular skills in order for me to go to clinicals. So to give a little backstory for those who may not know me personally, my mother owned a daycare business, starting from when I was in middle school up until when I was an adult. And I worked with her before a while, when she was up and going with her business. So at this particular time, I'm living with my mother. I'm not working for her, but I'm helping her out as much as I can. We lived right across the street from an elementary school. So she had school age kids that she had to pick up from school, take to school and pick up from school. My program, I was going to school full time Monday through Friday, and I would leave the house like around 6:30, and I wouldn't come back till about 3 o'clock, sometimes 3:30. So this particular day, I had to make up my skills, get checked off for my skills so I can go to clinical. And it was about, I want to say 3 o'clock. For whatever reason, her worker that she had, her assistant that was working for her at this time, did not go to work and could not help her pick up the kids. So she's blowing up my phone, and I'm literally in the middle of like getting checked off for skills, and I'm like, okay, let me answer this call. It might be an emergency. It might be my daughter. So I go outside, I answer the phone, and she's literally yelling at me, "Where are you? You were supposed to go pick up the kids and you're not here." And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, I told you, you know what I mean? I told you that I had to do the skills lab and I wouldn't be home until later. So she's like ranting and raving. And she basically says something to the fact of, well, if you can't help me, I'm not going to help you. And I don't know who's going to watch your daughter. So I'm like, oh, I was like, okay. So she's like, yeah, I don't know who's going to watch your daughter. So good luck with that. And anybody who knows my mom knows that she don't fuck around. Like, if she says something, that's what she means. She's not playing around. So my daughter's only like 4 months, 5 months at the time. I'm panicking. I'm like, I got to go pick up my daughter. So I talked to the director of the program, the administrator of the program, whatever her title was. And I let her know, this is what's going on. I have to leave. And she's like, well, if you leave, you're not going to be able to go to clinicals. So I explained to her the whole situation, give her the whole rundown. She's like, look, I'm going to help you out. She was like, go home, get your daughter, pack her a diaper bag, bring her some bottles, whatever you need to get. Leave her in my office. I will watch her so you can finish getting checked off for your skills. So I'm like, okay, perfect, cool. So I go home, do exactly that. I get her a diaper bag made, get her bottles, everything. My mom sees me like kind of getting my stuff together, and she's like, oh, where are you going? And I'm like, I tell her what happened. I'm like, my director said she's going to help me out. She's going to watch Maya so I could go get checked off my skills lab. It's okay. Don't worry about watching her. So I guess she started feeling some type of way, and she's like, oh, she was like, well, if you can't help me, like I said, if you can't help me, I'm not going to help you. And if you leave, the locks will be changed by the time you come back. And I don't know where you're going to stay. Straight like that. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, I'm asking her, are you dead ass serious right now? She's like, I'm so serious. And I know she's not playing. I know she's not playing. I have nowhere else to go. I have nowhere else to go. I have a 4-month-old daughter, and my mom is basically threatening to kick me out if I leave to go finish my skills so I can go to clinicals. So, at this moment, I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, in my head, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, so I called the director. I let her know what's going on. Tell her everything. She's like, there's no other way you can come back. And I'm like, I have to choose. I was like, oh, God damn it. I was like, I have to make a choice. You know what I mean? I have to make a choice. And I don't have nowhere else to go. So I'm going to have to drop out of the program. I just decided to drop out. There was no way it was going to work. She was threatening me. And it just wasn't going to work. So I decided to drop out of the program. And I was so upset. I was so hurt. And I held a lot of resentment and anger towards her for a long time. And it took a long time for me to actually, like, genuinely 100% forgive her. I was mad at her and I was angry for a long time. So I dropped out of the program, worked for her full time, and did what I had to do. The messed up part about that whole situation was I ended up getting pregnant with my son a few months later, and we ended up getting into a big argument about something stupid, and she kicked me out anyway. So I ended up getting kicked out of the house months later anyway. So it's like, I should have just, went with my first mind and finished. I should have never dropped out. And that was a big lesson. Never, ever choose anyone else over your dream, because it wasn't worth it. I ended up getting kicked out anyway. So after I left her house, I had it bad for a little minute there. I was pretty much homeless. I didn't have anywhere to go. Nobody was going to take a pregnant woman who had, 1-year-old. Nobody had room for me, you know what I mean, in my family. So I was pretty much on my own. And I remember going down to the county office, the county whatever in our local area, and I applied for food stamps and cash aid, and told them I'm pregnant and I'm homeless and I have nowhere to go. And they ended up giving me these cash vouchers to stay in motels. Like, they pretty much paid for me to stay in a motel. I don't want to say hotel because, bitch, I was in a motel. It was bad. They gave me these vouchers and told me if I found an apartment within the price range, they would cover the whole move-in costs. So I'm like, okay, I'm, trying to find places. I could not find anything that I could afford on my own. So I ended up getting a roommate. We got a roommate, and that covered the costs, and we got in, and it was such a blessing. Fast forward to exactly a year later, I give birth to my son, and it's almost like this was meant to be, because everything came full circle. You know what I mean? Everything came full circle. And exactly a year later, my son is now, 2-3 months old. I go back down to the school, reapply, took the TEAS test all over again, got, applied for financial aid, got approved for financial aid, got my loan payments and everything set up, and got into the program exactly a year later. And when I went back, the director was so happy to see me, and I was just so happy. And I let her know everything I've been through in the year, and we just was like, this is meant to be. Like, you are supposed to do this, Lynetta. You're supposed to do this. And I was so happy.